When you noticed the female's body, can you tell me what the position was? I'm trying to get a. Tell me what you saw as reference to. Was she laying across the seats, sitting in the seats?
She was in the driver's seat, and she was laid down across the seats with her head down into the passenger floorboard. So it looked like she was sleeping or passed out from drinking alcohol, from what I thought at the time.
Okay, go
on. I tried to get her attention. I tried to wake her up by knocking on the window. I looked around the car to inspect it, see if there was like alcohol or bottles or anything like that was around. There was nothing like that. I touched the door handle to see if it was unlocked. It wasn't locked. I opened up the car. I turned the car off. I tried to, sit there and be like, "Excuse me, ma'am, wake up. Is everything all right?" To get the person's attention. No response.
Now, when you tried to wake up, what did you do to the body?
I tried to use my vocals and everything. I didn't touch it.
Your what?
Vocals.
Okay.
And then I proceeded to go over to the passenger door to see if I could unlock that. I unlocked that to see if I could see her face and see her eyes or anything, if she was awake or if she was responsive or anything like that. I tried to feel for a pulse on the neck. Couldn't feel anything. I tried to pick her arm up, and that's when I realized her arm was stiff. And as soon as I found out, I called my dispatcher and advised them to call EMS and ambulance.
When you approached the vehicle, at that point, did you notice anything else about the vehicle?
I did realize when I opened up the vehicle there was a strange odor. Kind of like a gas, but it's very stupid.
So you opened the vehicle on the driver's side.
Yes, ma'am.
You said you turned. Did you just say you just turned the vehicle off?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there music playing?
No.
You said all the lights were out in it.
Yes.
Do you recall whether there was a fan or anything blowing, or just? Keys were in ignition. The door was unlocked. The car was running. Did you notice anything else about that vehicle?
There was a instant charcoal griller. Was once you get at the store at the bottom of the floorboard there.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it. Besides some McDonald's bags in the back seat.
Okay. Go on. Tell me.
And I think that was pretty much it. There was a little bit of clutter, but like I said, it's been a little over a year now. It's still hard to.
Right, and I understand it's been over a year, but we need to
Get everything you can.
get as much information as you can give us. Okay. And you're saying that you didn't notice it. What did you do while you were waiting for others to get there? What did you do?
While I was waiting.
You said that you felt her arm, her body was stiff, and then you asked someone to call 911.
I had a radio, and I radioed my dispatcher. I said, "We need EMS out here."
Okay. While you were waiting, what did you do?
I tried to.
When you say you saw a grill, and you said you saw wrapping and a McDonald's bag, is there anything else that you remember seeing? Anything that maybe was out of the ordinary?
Just the charcoal griller.
When you discovered the body, you said what was the first thing you said went through your mind?
The first thing before I even got to the car was I thought that two people were just messing around and steaming up a car. The second thing that went through my mind is the person drank too much and passed out before being able to leave the parking lot.
But you said that there was no evidence of the latter.
What was your answer?
I'm sorry. No,
so there was no evidence of the latter. What was your?
The latter.
The second part. You said there was
there was no
of
evidence of liquor or any alcohol.
You just.
with a person in it for a long period of time, would it be in your job description or your company's job? Would that be something that you all would have noticed
The thing that
or
threw
should have
the
noticed?
thing that threw us off is when we drive around everything. The thing that threw me off that only caught my attention was when we drive around everything. I believe everyone usually has their windows up. For that one night when I was going out in the lot, I had the windows down, and I slowed down. I saw a vehicle, and I thought when I came up on the vehicle, I thought, okay, it's somebody that just parked, that just left it over there, and I was gonna check it out. But what threw me off was when it was fogged up, and then I looked down, I saw the exhaust still putting out like it was turned on. That's the only thing that got my attention.
Okay.
Because with what we usually look for is when people are sitting in their car and they have the stuff on, they usually have their lights on or something that shoots it out that the car is on. So,
Okay. All right. So you're saying that the vehicle was running, but the lights were out.
right.
Patrolling a parking lot. Are there many cars? Around what time do the cars start to thin out? Because I heard you say that there's a lot of vehicles or something like that.
Right.
When does it start to thin out that you all,
Well, I believe was May 6th a Saturday, right? Or it was Sunday.
Sunday morning?
Sunday morning.
This would have she would have entered the parking lot. It is reported that she entered that parking lot about 6 p.m. on Saturday.
Saturday
And her
is
body
one
was.
of our yeah.
You discovered her body about what time was that?
I think it was like anywhere between 4 and 5, like 4:20. That's what I was thinking. It's around that time, 4 or 5.
And were there many cars there? You know,
Before we have, like I said, when we have the movies and everything, they have people that sit out there, and sometimes we have late showings on Saturday nights till about 3:30. Sometimes they finally just get let out of the movies. We have large sums because of a big hit movie comes out on the weekend. When there's it takes about maybe 3:30, 3:45 before they all start getting their vehicles to the park on the property.
you mentioned did you take any pictures? Did any of the officers with Val take pictures of the scene?
I took pictures of the scene with a
What?
digital camera with the company. But
Okay.
they
What
have
what pictures did you take?
I took the side pictures. I took side pictures of the vehicle. I took the front and the back of the vehicle, pertaining to the license plate, and both sides of the doors that was open.
And you said that when you got there, the door was unlocked.
Yes, ma'am.
Both doors were unlocked.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me have those pictures. When you took, would you? I'm just going to ask you. Is that one of the pictures you took? Do you recall?
Yes, these two I took.
Okay.
Not too much besides the back was really trashy. I mean, besides the McDonald's back, there was some other clutter and stuff. And the trunk was really had a lot of stuff in it, but I didn't go too further into it.
Now, when you say the trunk, how do you know what the trunk had in it?
Um, I believe we were trying to search the vehicle and opened up the trunk to figure out and saw where the charcoal burns are.
Who opened up the trunk?
I believe I did.
Okay. So then you did search the vehicle prior
Yes, I
to
did.
police arriving?
Yes, I did. Like I said, I was searching for alcohol or anything.
And that required you open up the trunk? How did you open the trunk up?
There was a lever on the side where the hood and the trunk is, in the driver's seat.
Stephen, I'm trying to determine. You come up on a vehicle. There's a deceased person in it. The vehicle is running. You turn the vehicle off. And you take the keys and you go back to the trunk.
I don't take the keys. I pull there's a
Pull
lever
the
at the
lever.
bottom.
You pull the lever.
Yeah, I leave the keys in ignition.
Okay. Leave the keys in the ignition. You go check the trunk of the car. And you said you were looking for what in the trunk?
I was just looking for anything like alcohol or anything suspicious that would have caused her to be in that state before I found out later on when I went to the other side of the vehicle that my thought of what happened.
So you're telling me that you found her body, you discovered this body. Before you checked the pulse, you pulled the lever to the trunk and went and searched the trunk of the car. Is that the order in which you
No,
have
no,
it?
no. I checked. I opened up the vehicle. I tried to get her attention. Um,
When you say you try to get her attention, you open up the vehicle, and then what exactly do you do to try to get
I, like I said, I vocalized. I talked. I kept on saying, "Excuse me, ma'am, are you okay? Is everything all right? Are you drunk or anything like that, or stuff like that?"
Okay. So you're asking her, is she okay, 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 and then you do what?
Then that's when I go over. I checked her pulse on her neck. I didn't seem anything. When I had the when I called the other officers over, I didn't go into the trunk until the other officers came over, and I picked the arm up, and that's when I realized, while the time that EMS or the county was coming, I checked the trunk. I didn't try to touch too much or anything like that because of county's protocol and everything. They don't want us to touch the scene or anything. And once they announce something like that, they push us away because we're not allowed to. We don't want to disrupt the
Right. That's why I'm
crime scene.
trying to understand why you would have gone to the trunk of the car.
To see if anything like alcohol or if she possibly is alcohol poisoning or something like that, or something that would give it away. Because the thing that threw me off was the charcoal griller and the smell of gas, some kind of smell of gas in the car. So I was trying to pinpoint exactly where that was coming from or what was coming from, and that's when I realized it's the charcoal griller that was on the ground, but the one in the back of the trunk had a label on it. So that's how I figured it out. That there was a charcoal griller in the bottom.
Okay, when you say it had a label on it, what exact? Tell me about the charcoal grills, please.
It's I believe one of those ones you get in the grocery store that the instant ones. I'm not sure too sure.
Okay, so on the floor of the car, you observed what? Because I hear you.
Right. Her head was down the floorboard. The charcoal griller was not too far from it on the same floorboard.
How many grills did you see?
Just one.
You saw one grill. Okay. Are you positive it was one grill?
I'm pretty sure it was just one.
So you said then you saw it. Where was it? You mentioned another grill. Where was that other grill?
That was in the trunk.
There was another grill in the trunk of the car. And was it wrapped or? Well, tell me about the other grill that was in the trunk.
I believe it was still. It still wasn't. It was still in package. It wasn't even taken out or anything.
So see, it was your testimony today that you observed two grills. One was still in the packaging in the trunk of the car, and one was at the front of the car.
Yes.
Was anything moved? Did you move anything?
No. Besides picking her arm up and touching her on the neck. The only thing I moved was her arm to see if I could, because I didn't know at the point in time that she was deceased, and I was trying to, nudge her arm or pull her arm a little bit, to, like pull her arm to get her attention or something like that. See if, as soon as I touched, felt the pulse also on the hand and figured it out that it was stiff. That's when I started to call up.
And you testified that did you close the trunk back? Was the trunk or was what? Tell me about the trunk again.
I opened up the trunk. I saw the grillers and everything, and after county came, they kind of took over the scene. The doors were open, everything was left the way it was, and they took over.
And did you take pictures of the body?
I did take pictures of the side when the doors was open where her body was, so yes.
So you're the person that took the interior pictures of her body at that time.
Yes.
I have some more questions, but before I get into that, is there anything else that you can think of that you might want to, that might help us to shed some light on this? Okay. Does your company, to your knowledge, have a contract or a working relationship with Anne Arundel County Police?
Um, I don't. I know they work. I know they help us out with in the mall. We have workers inside. We do have a substation inside the mall. Where we do have Anne Arundel County Police that work inside the mall with the mall and everything like that. So I believe so.
And to your opinion, in your opinion, had you, as an officer, what your experience? I know you hadn't been through that before, but were you comfortable with the reported outcomes? Did you feel that they were accurate?
About.
Well, you've read. It sounds like you've read the Anne Arundel County Police report about the scene. From your experience and what you observed being there live, were you comfortable? Did you find anything that you didn't agree with?
I don't. It just, to me, it really didn't make sense
Okay, what didn't make sense?
because a fellow officer that was there that night with me, he sat there and I guess he did some kind of background, or not background, but he did some. He found out that the female was a grade A student and she was doing great in college, and she was a straight A student. So to me, it didn't. It really didn't make sense about the way they came out with the results and everything. It just didn't. To me, it didn't add up.
Okay, tell me some more about your thoughts on that.
I mean, with me, I can't understand anybody that would want to do something like that, as the police are saying, but I really, I don't know.
So you're referring to the reported suicide, or are you referring to what you observed at the scene?
The reported suicide didn't make sense to me.
Why didn't that make sense? And was it something about that you observed about the scene that didn't make sense? Did it, in your opinion, was there something that just didn't strike you as that being an accurate assessment, perhaps? What are your thoughts on that?
The only thing that it didn't make sense is when I came to the vehicle and the vehicle doors were unlocked. Usually when people get in their car, they lock their doors and they start their car and everything, but the car was completely unlocked. So anybody could have had access to open up the door or talk to her before the fact and everything like that. So that's what it didn't make sense. If somebody was in their vehicle, usually they would lock the doors and everything. And the other thing that didn't make sense was the car was on, but there was no headlights or anything like that on. That's the other thing that didn't add
We know that the car was a bucket seats and a console in the middle. We know that. My question to you is that just before we start, when you saw the body in the car, did it look like? What was your impression? Did it look like it was a comfortable position?
It definitely was not comfortable. It did not look like a comfortable position.
Okay. So can you describe to our person here how, in your opinion, what you saw to the best of your ability?
She was laying on her side, facing towards the passenger airbag. It would be facing towards the front console and everything.
Okay, laying on her side.
Right. And with the center console, her back was arched up more because the console, because like I said, was a bench seat.
So bench seat was her back was arched over the console.
Right.
Okay.
Her back was arched over the console, and she was laying with her head looking up underneath of the passenger airbag on the
Okay.
floorboard.
Passenger airbag. You're right. You're straightening out a little more. You're looking up. You're saying she was looking up?
Yeah, she was looking up. I knew it was at an angle where I couldn't see it from opening up the passenger side, so I knew it was looking, because the radio console would be right here. The little the little cutout for the passenger's feet would be right there, where I guess the
Next.
glove compartment would be and everything else. And her face was facing towards the corner of the radio, of underneath where the radio would be, and up underneath of the glove compartment.
So you're saying that her head was not on the seat, but it was up underneath the you're saying that the glove compartment underneath that is an opening, is that correct?
That's where the length for the feet goes underneath where you know where it goes underneath.
Yes,
That's
yes.
where it goes. That's where her head was tilted up,
Okay,
where it was angling up towards the radio from underneath.
okay, okay. And her feet were where?
Her feet, I believe, they're I think they're right at the door where they're angled right at the door, kind of
Okay.
like laying down.
So when you open a door, her feet were, did her, do you know if her feet fell? Or her feet stay where they were? Were they up against the driver's side door?
I think they kind of stayed where they were because the door was holding it there. So she, I guess if she fell, the legs would still stay there, and she would sit like that, and she was arched up. Her back was arched, and her head was just tilted up with her arms like up.
Okay, tell us, and you have to be a little more descriptive because she's
Okay.
trying to think of that. What was, and feel free to move her arms, what were the position of her arms when you found her?
Her arms were right down by her side.
Can you
Oh, sorry. I believe when.
come on, Tracy?
Okay.
Hold on a sec.